Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today I'm bringing you guys an updated top 5 must-buy premium ships list. Now, what I mean by must-buy, I mean that if you ask me, hey, what premium ship should I pick up, I would definitely direct you to one of these 5 ships. All these ships are well worth the either doubloons, dollars, or coal that you need in order to acquire these ships. These are some fantastic ships, and if any of these sound like they might suit your playstyle, you might enjoy any of these ships, I would recommend you guys pick it up if you are in the market for a premium ship. Now again, like the previous top 5 video, all these ships are currently available. There are some ships that I would recommend you maybe take a chance on getting either in a certain event or in the Santa container event. These are not them. You can all go to the premium shop or to the army right now and acquire these ships right now. So that's another qualifier to get into this list. And if a ship isn't on this list, that doesn't mean it's bad or anything. I tried to will it down to 5. There's a lot of very good premium ships out there right now, some of which I talked about beforehand, but these are just the 5 that I would recommend at this very moment. So let's go ahead and get on into it. Coming at number 5, we have the Tier 8 Premium Japanese Heavy Cruiser, the Atago. So the Atago is one of the, if not the oldest premium ship in the game. She originally replaced Kitakami, which was that horrible abomination of a ship that has something like 40 torpedoes back in the day. She replaced her. Those that had Kitakami were given an Atago as compensation for it, and what a good compensation it was. So the Atago has those amazing Japanese cruiser guns with high HE alpha and high fire chance and very high accuracy. I mean, if you look at the accuracy that you're seeing on screen here, when I miss, it's my aim. It's not the dispersion from the Atago. The shells do quite literally go where you point with the Atago. On top of that, too, she has great concealment at 9.3 kilometer concealment full build, which means you can stealth torp in the Atago because your torpedoes go out to 10 kilometers. Now, the torpedo angles aren't that great, but actually for the Japanese cruiser tech line, they're actually not that bad. But you get those 10 kilometer torps, a very nice concealment level there, and she's incredibly nimble as well. She has a good rudder shift time even if you don't build into it. If you do build into it, I believe you can get the rudder on the Atago down to something crazy like 3 seconds, which is insane for a ship that has a 9.3 kilometer concealment range with a 3-second rudder shift time. On top of that too, she does get hydro and a catapult plane. So you have all this just excellence in one ship. Now the ship is a little squishy, as I'm sure most of you that have played against Atago have come to find out, but I mean with a 3-second rudder shift time if you build into it, or even just a 6-second rudder shift time that the ship comes with stock, you can more than avoid most of the shells that are being fired at you. And if you're a player that cares about stats, she's an excellent PR farm. If you do like 48,000 damage in this ship, I think that's like Unicum levels in the Atago, because the ship's been out for all eternity. They give the ship away so much in promos and such that many a new player get this ship, so the ship's stats are just completely in the gutter. So if you really do care about stats, the Atago is a great ship to pad your stats with, on top of being a very good premium all in all. Alright, going on down to number 4, we have the Tier 6 Premium British Battleship, the Warships. So the Warships, this ship is gotta be getting close to, what, 4 or 5 years old now, with how long she's been out in the game. This is a fantastic battleship. So she's at Tier 6, and she has 15-inch guns at Tier 6. With very good accuracy, especially for a Tier 6 battleship. And she is a British battleship, but she gets normal AP. Normal battleship AP. Now, if you played the Queen Elizabeth, you do know that even with the British battleship AP, those 15-inch guns hurt. But with the Warspite, with normal AP, shoo, you don't have that short fuse time, and you can absolutely punch the crap out of other battleships at your tier. So she's kind of like a Yamato at Tier 6. I mean, again, 15-inch guns at Tier 6. You can overmatch every single battleship's bow armor that you see. You know, with the exclusion of a few that do have icebreaker bows and such, but still, your guns pack one hell of a punch. Now, the turrets are very similar to Yamato, too, in that they have a 60-second 180 time before you build into them, so Again, it's very Yamato-ish here. And you do get the improved heal with the Warspite as well. You may hear me refer to ships that get improved heals, so heals that heal a little bit more damage than a normal heal does as a ship having a Warspite heal. Warspite was the first battleship to get this improved heal. It helps make up for her rather squishy armor, which is very, very squishy, as I'm sure you'll see in the footage in the background too. Another good thing about Warspite is that she's very capable of holding her own in Tier 8 games, which is very, very, very good because you get that increased economic income for doing damage to ships that are 2 tiers higher than you. If you don't know, when you get up tiered, let's say you're in the Warspite and you fire and hit a tier 7 battleship, you get a 0.2% increase to the amount of credits and XP that you earn by damaging that ship. And when you see tier 8 ships, you get a 0.5% boost. So it's very good for farming credits and XP. Not as good as some other ships that I mentioned last week, but she still is quite a good ship at doing it as well. Oh, also, the Warspite can turn on a dime. She's one of the most maneuverable tier 6 battleships. Don't get me wrong, she bleeds speed when she turns, but I mean, like, look how good this thing can turn when I have to turn. She's very, very, very good for that. Alright, moving on down to number 3, we have the tier 10 French cruiser, the Marceau. So the Marceau is a Kleber with smaller guns, and she has a much better sustained rate of fire than Kleber, which is crazy when you see how many shells this ship can put down range. You can keep this up for the entire game. You don't have to depend upon the reload booster like the Kleber does. So on top of that too, you get the French engine boost, which means you are a stupidly fast DD, rocket and rolling above 50 knots. That's incredibly hard for ships to shoot at, especially battleships, and, well, essentially any ship that doesn't have, like, Soviet levels of shell velocity. It's pretty difficult to hit this thing at range, too. And of course, you get the French damage saturation mechanic. Well, the French DD saturation mechanic. I wish the French cruisers got this mechanic too, to where the sections of the French DD saturate faster, which means that effectively they take about half the amount of damage that they're supposed to. Doesn't get a heal, which does suck being a tier 10 DD, but I mean, does get the saturation mechanic. That kind of makes up for it. So this is a great ship, a very fast ship, great for flanking an enemy team and absolutely harassing their ships. And this is a very good DD in the hands of a very, very, very skilled DD player. That this ship is one hell of a pain to deal with. It's great in clan battles, it's great for CODs, it's great for ranked. Anything competitive, Marceau is a great option, and she's just downright good for random battles farming as well. Even in the hands of someone like myself, I'm not a very good DD player, I can still do quite well in the Marceau. And she's a coal ship. So this ship is completely free. You just have to be a little good Warships player and open up your 3 daily containers and choose coal. And within a few months, you have a Marceau completely for free just by doing that. That's not even talking about doing things like ranked and missions and such to get extra coal. So again, completely free ship here and absolutely one of the best DDs in the game, let alone one of the best ships in the game as well. Alright, moving on down to number 2, we have the tier 10 Italian heavy cruiser, the Napoli. So the Napoli, you guys should be very familiar with this ship. I've mentioned this ship several times on this channel, and she's still an absolute blast to play. So the Napoli, she has an amazing armor layout for a cruiser. This is an incredibly tough cruiser. In this game you're watching right now, I didn't have any spotting on this side, so I had to push up, and turns out it wasn't the best idea ever. And I do eat dirt, but I mean, for a cruiser, at the end of this game, y'all, I think, over 3 million potential damage done, if not at least 2.8 million potential damage, which that's a lot for one cruiser to take, and most of it was shells bouncing off of the Napoli's armor. She's got some great armor, especially given the amount of 40-57mm guns that we have now at tier 10. And you also get great Italian AP on her 254mm main battery guns. These guns slap at close range, especially if you can sneak around and catch a broadside BB. Oh my god, you are going to chunk the living crap out of him, especially considering that, again, you're a cruiser. On top of that too, she gets SAP secondaries with quite literally the best secondary accuracy in the game. And the way that it works now on cruisers, as I'm sure most of you know, since the Commander rework, you can't build into secondaries anymore via the Commander skills. You can build into them with the modules, but you can't with the skills anymore. So what Wargaming had to do was just give this ship the best secondary accuracy in game, and then you throw the modules on top of there too, and that makes it even better. And these SAP secondaries are great for tearing DDs, and light cruisers are a new one. These are the 90mm secondary guns that most of the Italian battleships get, but the Italian battleships, except for the Giuseppe Verdi, they fire HE. These fire SAP, which means they pin a lot more than those HE 90mm secondaries do, so they're a lot more useful. They will rip apart DDs, they will rip apart lightly armored cruisers, and even some of the more lightly armored battleships. You won't have a good day running into the Napoli. On top of that, too, she gets the exhaust smoke generator that the Italian cruisers get, which means that you can literally just pop smoke and run away. Or what I like to do is pop smoke when the enemy is being spotted within secondary range. Don't fire your main battery guns, and just let your secondaries chew on them. And if there's no radar or hydro within your within range of you, they can't do anything. I mean, they can try and blind fire, of course, but without being locked on, you won't obviously get slapped as hard as you would if they could actually see you. So you just sit there, well, putter along, and let your secondaries chew into them, and again, they're kind of just screwed. It's amazing how much that works and how often people don't recognize a heavy cruiser-sized smokescreen moving toward them at 32 knots. On top of that, too, you do get the 13-kilometer Italian torpedoes, which are great for denying the enemy a certain flank they're trying to push down, or just shoving in between some random islands where a ship may or may not be coming. It's really surprising to me with the Italian cruisers how often just throwing some random torps can net you a couple of torp hits. And of course, if you have to get in close, you do have the torpedoes to back you up as well. So this ship's an absolute boatload of fun. It's an amazing ship, and just like the Marceau, it's a coal ship. So again, this is a ship that is completely free. Just again, collect your containers, do the missions, participate in ranked in an event here or there, and you'll have the ship in a couple of months. And it's a fantastic ship too. Alright, moving on down to number 1, we have the Tier 9 American abomination, the Kearsarge. The Kearsarge, I mean, this thing's hideous. It's an insult to battleships everywhere, but it's probably one of the best premium battleships in game right now. So the Kearsarge, you get 12 406mm guns with American AP. Like I've talked about before, with American AP gets the improved pins. It hits a lot harder than it should for being a 16-inch shell. But you do have a 36-second reload time, and you do have the 45 caliber guns of the North Carolina, not the 50 caliber guns of the Iowa and the Montana. So that means your shells are almost going backwards through the air with how slow they travel to their target, which means that this ship is very much best played at medium range. You do have a flight deck, you're not a carrier, you shouldn't be sitting in the back with this ship. You should be as close to the action as you can without being right on the front. So ideally, 12 to 15 kilometers is where you want to be in the Kearsarge. And you might look at the flight deck and think, well, why do I want to do that? They can farm that huge section of my ship. And yes, they can, but the rest of the ship's armor is actually pretty good. So if you use island cover to your advantage, definitely don't go to the open water caps in the ship. Go to the caps that have some island coverage that you can pop in and out of. That way you can avoid eating dirt. You'll be alright, because again, the armor on the ship is actually quite good. So on top of all that, you also get planes if you haven't noticed. So you get one squadron every 2 minutes, and if you have Halsey or anything that affects the armament's reload time, that does get decreased with those skills. So if you pop Confederate in Halsey, you will have a 90-second reload time on your planes rather than a 2-minute. And unlike carriers, you get another full flight every time your planes reload too. So you can lose all the planes and you don't care. Apparently the Kearsarge is the Navy's plane construction facility because it just builds planes the entire match. It's kind of stupid. And the planes do fire Tiny Tims, which have great pin and great fire chance. It's not uncommon that if you aim the rockets right, you'll be chunking battleships or cruisers for 16k and starting 1 or 2 fires on them as well. Which is kind of nice because of the 36-second reload. Having the planes does give you something to do while the guns are reloading. So this ship's nuts. The damage potential is insane. Again, you have 12 16-inch guns at Tier 9 with the American artillery plattering module that gets the dispersion down even more. So, yeah, this ship is insane. The damage potential is through the roof. It's super easy to do at least 150k in this ship, just about every match. Even this match you're watching right now, which was a terrible match, I think I still did north of like 120k, which, again, fantastic. And again, it's a tier 9, you can see tier 10, can get the economic bonus for attacking tier 10 ships, and now it can get the economic bonus for attacking super ships, because I'm pretty sure, from what I've tested in game, it is calculated as actual tier 11, so you get the boost for doing damage to ships that are 2 tiers higher than you. So you got that going for you now with the Kearsarge as well. Alright guys, that's my top 5 must-buy premium ships. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. And tell me, what would be your top 5 must-buy premium ships? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit funny for this video. The weather's been crazy here. Winter is like going out with a vengeance here in the south, so I'm all clogged up and stuff again, so I do apologize if I sound congested. It's because I am. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. On our way to 35,000 subs, we're getting very, very, very close to that goal, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. I am planning on doing another giveaway when we get to that point, so stick around for that. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday and a wonderful week, and I hope to catch you guys in the next one.